We're up to Daf Beis. One more week to finish Masechta Shavuos, and then goes Masechta Avodah Zarah. We have the most extraordinary Rashi in this today's Gemara that I can't remember seeing it anywhere else. And surprisingly, the printers decided to record it, and surprisingly, that Rashi actually wrote it. Okay, as we'll see. Says the yeah. This is Rashi. The few Masechtas that it is in Rashi, they all discuss, who it is. Two places we know Rashi passed away, in Basra and Makkos. But we have also other Rashi, like the Dorim, we say was a student of Rashi, and so on. A few Masechtas like that. Then sometimes we have a Rashi on the Rif, which is different than Rashi and Al-Gemara. And then the question is, what's going on here? Also remember that Rashi wrote three different interpretations of the Gemara. That's why Tesis calls him Pirush HaKuntris, because he wrote a lot of manuscripts, and sometimes Tesis records a Rashi that now Gemara, Rashi doesn't have exactly those words, because Tesis might have seen the second manuscript, we have the third one. Says the Gemara, we're continuing to learn the laws about Shavuos, and now comes in a subject we actually had in Shavuos. Says the Gemara, the guy says to his friend, Havli me'yezuzah, give me $100, the masik nebach, give me $100 that I lent you. Now he produces a contract, a loan contract. Amalei, the guy says, Pratich, I paid you. He said, I paid you. And Amalei said, yeah. Amalei hanu sitroyininu. The lender said, yes, I received the money, but the money you paid me was for another loan altogether, not for this loan on the contract. Since the lender admitted that he received the money, and he's no longer believed to say the money came from somewhere else, because in all probability the money came to cover this loan contract, not another outstanding loan. Papa says, Lo Yisr Shtar. Papa says, no, the shtar has not been ruined because the guy can say what he said. Papa does not believe. He says that what? That you believe the guy, that you believe the lender that the money was for another loan. So let me ask you, how is this different? The guy says, a friend, how will you $100 see why you let you go straight to the start? In this response over here, the guy said, one second. The money that you lent me was more like a business arrangement. You gave me to purchase cows. You came and you sat down there on the countertop where we used to cut meat. You took your money back from the cows that I shechted and I sold, and I made money. And your agreement was more than that. You gave me a loan, but you were going to get half the profits, and you did it. The lady said, no, I took the money, I agree. But I took the money because you owed me some other loan, nothing to do with this. In that case, we don't believe the lender. Because you came here and you admit to everything, then we assume that the money that you received came from the money that you lent with the loan. You see, yeah, he said, you owe me another loan from another time I lent you the money. You never paid me back. And now you paid me. I took it for that. Because here I have a document. I'm going to use this another time. So how can a public contradict himself? Here he says we don't believe the lender. Previously he said in a normal case, the guy said I took the money, yes, but for another loan we do believe him. So Gemara says, no, look at the circumstances. So precise. The money you gave me was an investment with these cows. And you took the money from the sale of that meat. Then in that case, it's highly unlikely that this Malva took the money for another loan. We assume that the money was given for this. But in a normal case, it's quite possible for another loan. Here, so my habit, what's the bottom line? The puppy says, the puppy says that we believe the lender and the shtar hasn't been affected at all. Rav Sheshes Brei, Rav Sheshes, the son of Ravidi says, we do believe the borrower that he paid back since the lender agreed, and we don't believe the Sitrayinu. But when he paid him in front of witnesses, and the lender saying, yeah, I took the money, I agree, but the money was for another loan. And the shtar wasn't discussed. No, but he didn't say, give me the shtar back. I will pay the day. If, let's say, the borrower paid back the lender and there's nobody else around, and the lender says, produce the shtar, and I say, you owe me money, and the money I received, did receive it, but for another loan, since you can say it never happened, in other words, he has a migui. He could have said, you never paid me. Exactly. So now that he says, yes, you paid me, but the payment for the loan, that's when we then we believe the lender. There's a whole machlekes showing what happened. The lender says, "You gave me the money, but it was a gift. It wasn't for another loan. It was for a gift, not for payment of the loan." Do we believe the lender in that case or not? And there's an interesting machlekes in showing whether we believe it or not. Says the Gemara further.
So then we would say
Get to marry in a minute. But if the lender, if the borrower would have said, if the borrower would have said that he does deny the first loan. Of course he does. Of course he denies it. And the lender says, you owe me, because the lender has a migra. He could have said, you never paid me. Now that he says, yes, you paid me, but it's for another outstanding loan which you disputed with me, but you owed me, then I guess the lender believes as well. If the borrower admits that he owes another loan, might be, then but I'm only paying you for the star, and you didn't ask for the star back, then it's suspicious on the borrower. You know there's another loan, and you wanted to pay off the one with the star. Why don't you ask for the star back?
Well, he could deny it, but easily say he's a migra because
who has a migra? The borrower.
Like the borrower could
what migra does he have?
I would try to get the first one.
Prove it.
Wait, you prove that there.
You're right. Normally, you're right, but in this case, I have a proof. I have. Yeah, but I still have the star. Having the star is very, but that's very compelling evidence that there's a loan still outstanding. This loan seems to still be outstanding because
you're telling me that it's for the first loan. I can say there's never was such a thing as a first loan.
I could have denied that you ever gave me the money in the first place. The migra of the lender is much stronger. And generally, a migli there's a hakira. If a migli is bira or din, is a mere proof that it's taka the truth, or is it just din that we give you the power of the other taina? Anyway, further, the story that Avimai son of Abu, which exactly this incident happened over there. Says the Gemara. In the middle of the page, we're talking different cases over here about payment of loans and about Shavuos. As this is right in the middle of the page, guy says to a friend, interesting proposition. I'll trust you. The borrower says to the lender. The lender is sort of a bit hesitant about lending the money. I want to get traders, and and people forget things. Lavdafka is spiteful, and it's what I need the whole thing for. I'm doing a favor, and then all I do is I get sorrow from it. So the borrower says, "I'll tell you what. I'm prepared that if I say I paid you back, and you say that I didn't, whatever you say will follow. I'm going to put that in the writing. Whatever you say, we're going to believe." He said, if you claim that I did not pay you, then I'll trust you. And what happened was, he paid in front of two witnesses, and then the letter says, you never paid me. Against the two witnesses.
Witnesses is a proof that you never trusted him in the first place.
Yeah, but the borrower, he wanted to garner the confidence of the lender. He said, whatever you say will follow. So, but what happened was there were two witnesses that said he did pay, and the lender said, "No, you didn't." What happens here? And the Bible, it was very interesting. The Bible agree together, and they say, he said to the lender, "I trust you implicitly. So whatever you say, I don't keep the two agents against you." Mask it up 1 second. If I have a dispute with you personally, I say I paid you, and you say you didn't. I said I'll trust you. Oh, but the puppet, the Talmud of Abai and Rabba came out, guns blazing against his business and said, "What are you talking about?" In such a case, it doesn't make sense to believe the lender over two Adim. Exactly, but against Adim, the Teda says he trusts two Adim. So you want to write that? The guy says, "A friend, I trust you like two Adim." If you tell me I didn't pay, I'll trust you like two Adim. Also, part of he paid him in front of three Adim. He remembered the try that he made, so he did. So he brought three Adim to say. So no, in his mind, he's thinking the borrower that he can't dispute this because I have three. My deal with him was I trust him like two, but three is better. Amar Papa, three is not better than two. First our Papa said, "Oh, since I went out of my way to get three, what am I trying to say? That I don't trust you. I have three Adim." Come now, so Papa has his adversary. Papa, what are you talking about? We know there's a din trei kameya. When it comes to Aiden, it makes no difference to it. Numbers don't matter. Once you have two, you have 100. It's all the same thing. So when do numbers matter? When do we say that numbers matter? When it comes, let's say you want to assess the value of something. The more assessors you get, the better valuation you get. The common if you should be key, trade. If you can get more people who are experts, the numbers matter. Avalinian Adis Meya Kitrei, but As if I said to you, I trust you like two Adim, having three Adims make a difference. Then I trust you, and then it doesn't matter what the Adim say. I can have 100 Adim on my side, but trust the lender. That's the deal you made with him. In another version, trust like two people. Whatever you say, I didn't pay you, trust you. Run three. Papa said, I trust you like two, not like three. Masker today can make it today. So this part is no different than before. But the next part is the if the deal was he said to the guy, I trust you like 380, and that's an odd number. Why did he say trust like 380? That means he's saying numbers matter. You're saying to the lender, I trust you like 380. If I would have said I trust you like 80, whatever the din is by 80, I would have said 2, like the Torah says. By me saying 380, I'm pointing out that I'm trusting you like numbers matter. So if I bring more than 380, I brought 480 since I demonstrate clearly that the numbers matter. The day is the day is. Once it came down to the opinion, it came down to the pictures. Now I'm going to quote you a Rashi, which is a Pella Nifl. And that they actually put it in the Gemara, and that the printers didn't know anything about it. If you look in the middle of the page, if you look inside, don't trust me. Look in the middle of the page, Rashi. The last word of the line is shachachti, right in the middle. Rashi says, "Shachachti, I forgot." Milefarish HaMishnah, the long Mishnah we had at the beginning of this page. I forgot to explain what the second half of the Mishnah was. The Hinyani Mafrisha Kan. So I know what I'll tell you the second half of the Mishnah over here, and the Gemara doesn't talk about the second half of the Mishnah. In fact, most of the second half of the Mishnah is not discussed.
Why is it written with the shtrechel? They never.
Yeah, all they have to do is Rashi put it here, take it, put it back in the Mishnah. It shows you how faithful they were to Rashi's original Ksav. And Rashi forgot to say it's a long Mishnah.
But is this Rashi? Because
the
Bachar the Zetz.
The Bachar the Zetz, all you do is take it, put it back in the front. What's the big deal? It's a printer.
So why is it written such unusual way?
That I don't know. So you're worried about the Shrechla. I'm just saying the whole idea.
The whole thing is unusual, but the way it's written here is it's screaming out something unusual.
But you see, like Rashi is learning with us Chavrusa. This is how he talks to you. Again.
Is Rashi continuing to explain it here?
Yeah. This is the next. We're not going to learn it, but all the Rashi to the bottom of the page, because you learn the Mishnah. There's very few Rashis in the Mishnah. You wonder why, and then you see it's right here. So the printer could have put it on the Mishnah and then just leave this part here if he wanted. It's a Sugrayim or something. It's not even a Sugrayim. This is part of the Rashi text.
The teacher is saying, I forgot to mention.
So it just shows you how Rashi is learning with us the Gemara together. Connected. This is exactly how it is. I think it's an amazing Rashi. I can't remember another Rashi like that. Anyway, Shavuos Daf Mem Beis. Says the Gemara further. English boy no time to a cotton. English boy. I mean, it's a cotton. But we said that you don't swear if a cotton or a cheder tries to make a claim, you don't take it seriously. You don't have to swear for it, and nor do you make a cotton swear because he can't really swear. What does he know? And the Pella is at the end of the mission, the last 4 words of the mission is, but you do swear for a cotton and for hektish, which seems to contradict itself. And the explains. So let's first go. My time is why not? The whole din of Shavuot we learned from Shavuos Shemrin by Shemrin, and the Torah starts off ki yitin ish re'eyu kesav v'kelim. Says ish, so ish excludes all of these. Kesav v'kelim ish whatever ain't the cotton club. His giving is nothing. He can't make kinyanim because that's ish. But the mission that concludes, but you do swear the cotton. Because you just started off saying, ain't you can't swear the cotton. You don't. And then you say you do. So we have 2 answers, Rav and Shmuel, how to learn Pshat in the Mishnah. So first we have Rav, and this sugya of Rav, we actually have in Ksuvas, and also in Bab Metzia. And because of that, all the Rishonim here say, interesting, look what I wrote in Bab Metzia about Riches, I don't have time right now. Except the Ritva gives interesting. He writes that he wrote 4 different places about the thing about Riches. He doesn't have the patience to write it again, but I'll give you a quick summary. And he does a quick summary. And his quick summary is 2.5 pages long. So imagine what he wrote in other places. Some of them we don't even have. Rav said,
I keep these columns with you because I don't want to have to say it over again.
True. But the Rishon did say it again, but gave you a summary. In fact, the summary is beautiful, so you can really get the tamtzis inyan. And could Rav said, a cotton cannot bring you to a thing. But you know what it says over here when there's boiling the cotton? If the cotton comes with the claim of his father. Robert Tainer's obvious. He said, you owe money to my father. Other, then you have to make a sure. Now, why? The cotton doesn't really know. This follows the view of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. What's the story of Eliezer ben Yaakov? We had exactly, now this is the part of the Gemara, we had exactly the same Gemara in Shavuos. What's the story of Eliezer ben Yaakov? The time we learned Rabbi ben Yaakov, on occasion, sometimes you can bring yourself to a Shavuos. Not only you're responding to a claim, but you step forward and you can say something, and as a result of that, you have to make a Shavuos. Chacham hold never happens. It has to be a claim, and then I'm a counterclaim by the mixes, but on my own, no. What's the story there? Kesad, you owe my father $100. And the guy says, yes, but I paid your father half. That's by the mixes. But to a child. You have to swear. And we'll soon see why is it considered tainas atzmai, because a cotton's claim is not that strong. So it's as if I could have denied it, right? I could have denied it. And by me admitting it is called as if it's considered tainas atzmai, and you have to swear. Racham say, no. He could have just walked away and said, not true, the whole story. And he's telling him that I paid you back half, so he's telling you the truth. Why else is he saying it? He had no reason if he's a liar, he could have just denied the whole thing. But even the main way, he's part of Oh, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, let's say the positive. We just leave that principle that if I didn't have to say, we had this whole mission in Gittin, in the fifth Pedic, all these things are Meisha Vaved. I find them at Tzia, and then you come along and you say, hey, you gave me back 100, there were 200 in the wallet. You don't have to swear. Meisha Vaved, I have to give back to you at all. If I'm a ganif, I'll give back to you at all. I would keep the whole money. These kind of things. So the same thing over here. Didn't have to admit to the kid anything. Rav says, you're right. Rabbi Eliezer, of course he agrees with the principle Meisha Vaved, but over here there's a claim. The fact was a claim. The child said, you owe my father money. The child demanded it. Not I stepped forward and I said, no, I owed your father 100, but I gave 50. The kid demanded it. So it's more than, it's not an ordinary Meisha Vaveda. You had to respond. So this is cotton. So I'm going to ask right now a question, but we said we don't swear on the tiniest cotton. Now I'm mission right here. Says the Gemara, so the way the Gemara learns right now, you're right. We never swear in tiniest cotton, even in Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov's case. We're talking about an adult. But so if I might cotton, so why does Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov a cotton? Because I got him in the rule cotton. He doesn't really know his father's affairs. He's not coming with such strong conviction because he doesn't really know. Maybe his father did get paid back. How does he know? He monitors all his father's movements. He doesn't really know. So we call it tainas cotton. But the fact is there was a taina of a gadol, and therefore, but you could have denied it. And the Chachamim will say still a Meisha Aveda. And Rabbi Yaakov says, no, in this case, you're not a Meisha Aveda, you have to swear. So tainas atzmai, tainas echenimi. Why does Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov refer to it as if you step forward and you admit it and you bring the shvur? No, there's a claim. So the Gemara says, tainas achenim does after. You're right. There was a tain of other claim, but he was voluntarily was murdered. That's how every story is. Kulanami times it's not every story. There's a claim and a counterclaim, or a response. So what's called this tainas atzmai? If there was a gadol demanding it on behalf of his father, but still there's a claim here. Rosh says here Ella. Now the big machlekes training with the word Ella there or not, because if you learn Ella, which is Rashi and some other training, that means the Gemara goes back and says we're talking about a cotton now. We're going back to really cotton. Other Rishonim say a cotton never makes it swear. We're still talking about a gadol. But it goes like this. Let's like Rashi. We're talking about the Rabba over here. Why over here? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, who believes generally makes it as well. Over here, we'll say a cotton can make you swear. He calls it tainas atzmai because a cotton's claim is really nothing. You didn't have to say anything, but the fact that you were made, we call it tainas atzmai. But nevertheless, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said you have to swear. Why is that? Of course, why don't you have to swear a kafir hakel, and why do you have to swear meidah mixes? Why do you have to swear? The way Tesis learns in Babbatzi is the question is, you have a migli. You could have denied the whole thing. So if he says, you could have said, you guys are owe me $100. He says, no, I don't. Lahadam, never happened. He will walk away scot free. Now that he says, yes, I owe you 50. And all I owe you is 50. He's a nice guy. He's a Meisha Vaved in a way. He doesn't have a migli. So the Gemara, Chazakin made Paname Bachayva. No, there's a chazaka. People don't have the chutzpah. In other words, this is called a migud. Which Taisus Moshe trying to learn. It's a migud da'haza. The whole idea of a migud is a bitter. The fact that he could have said a better lie. If he's a liar, he could have said a better lie. Why did he say this lie? He must be saying the truth. Or the din is we give him the kayach of the better lie. But over here, the reason why he didn't get a better lie, he doesn't have the guts. He doesn't have the chutzpah to look at his benefactor in his eye and his face and say, "Hey, you never helped me when I needed help." So therefore, there's no proof that he's telling us the truth. No, if you're telling me that he's a liar, we're worried that he's a liar. So how can you trust him for 50 either? Also, and Rashi learns in Gemara Bamatzia, which takes the Kuzi argues, if you think that he's a liar, that's what you're saying. Really, he's a liar. Why does he lie more? He doesn't have the chutzpah. So he lied halfway. That's why we make him swear. What's the point of making him swear? Once you think he's a liar, he'll swear false as well. Taisa totally agreed because we were looking about it before that Shavuos is the worse than any other Aved in the Torah. A Ganav might be a Ganav, but why are we making him a liar? Then Taisa has a whole discussion. So how come a Ganav can a Ganav swear? Can't he swear?
Extend it from a Ganav, from a liar, and say he's an untrustworthy person. So maybe he will have Az's problem in front of his mouth.
But this is to do with kind. We'll see in a minute. It said the Gemara. So now you're going to say to me, but he was a liar. How can we trust him at all? Was sure? What's the point? Oh, so he says Lav Dafka, he's a ganef. As we learned in the last few days, there's a concept called Yishtamuti de Mishtamit. That we know when a borrower says, I never borrowed the money, just make him automatically a kafran, maybe he's delaying the payment. He doesn't have the money, doesn't want you to harass him, and he plans to pay you. So we say like this guy's not a liar. He Pasha doesn't have any more money right now. He only can pay half the loan. So he'd rather just pay off half the loan, and when he'll have the money, when I have money, I'll pay you the rest. And leave me alone. I can walk and show comfortably. So we answer, the truth of the matter is, he's not a liar. He's happy to admit to the whole thing. I didn't. He's trying to wiggle his way out because he doesn't have the money right now. He's trying to delay it. So, but he thinks, wants to have money, put on a pay. But the Torah says, why don't you make him swear? Because since he's not a liar, we can trust his shua. A shua, he's not going to swear false. He had no breda, but he'll have to admit. No. So Rabbi Lezer ben, what's have to do with Algamar here? Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Sava, loishna boy, loishna bnoi. Ain't amazed. Makes no difference, him or his son. He doesn't have the chutzpah, and therefore, for a son as well, a maiden makes doesn't have the chutzpah to deny the whole thing. So where there is a claim, he is going to have to swear maiden. Normally, you don't swear times cotton, but when the cotton comes with the kayach of his father, and because he's coming with the kayach of his father, when we say ain't, the whole problem is we said before, it says kiyitin ish. Who gave the item to this guy? The Ish gave it to him. The cotton is not saying, I lent you the money or I gave you something to mine for me. The cotton is saying, my father gave me. So we're fulfilling the first part of the pasuk, Kiyitin Ish. And therefore, there's not because we said before, why Cheshev God you don't swear? Because Kiyitin Ish. The Ish gave it over here. No, boss, is there why swear at all? He's making the Meshur. He says, no, I believe the money makes applies over here as well. However, and the Rabban hold the fun of it in a maze, but they maze has a chutzpah. The machlekes of Lezer and Yaakov Chachamim is, which maybe we can say machlekes also Rashi and Taisus, but something else. What's the idea of another maze? There's two ways of understanding pshat. As Rashi and Bob Mitzvah says, one pshat there. Is it pshat because you know the truth? You're the one who lent me the money, so you know the truth. And I can't look. It's one thing to lie, but to look the guy right in the eyes and say a white lie, it's impossible. Or the person was so nice to you when you were desperate. How can you turn around and be such a kafur teva? If the word is kafur teva, then maybe loishna b'noi, loishna b'noi. The fact that this guy's father saved you. If the word is not knowing the truth, you never met the son before. You have no idea if he knows the truth, and the son probably doesn't know 100%. He thinks he doesn't know. So therefore, you have the chutzpah. And that's the machlekes. What's the basis for it? Actually, this is also the crux of an argument in Rashi and Taisus, where this also applies by Pekot. The whole idea. Remember, we had Kiyuzeh, where the Kiyuzeh written by Shemin actually doesn't belong here. Eid of Parshas Kosov Kana belongs in the mixes. Because if the word is knowing the truth, Pekot also knows the truth. If the word is he did you a favor by Pekot, I did him a favor. He didn't do me any favors, so I have chutzpah. So this is Machlei Rishoni, where by Pekot we also say this concept of made and mix. Anyway, the Gemara continues. Make sure they do. So you want to meet much. How can you tell me? Because in the very same mission it said the case before. He says all I owe is 50 potter. Rabbi Yaakov you just said Rabbi Yaakov that Yechayev, right? That the Benoit comes on the shoulder of his father Yechayev. And the same Mishnah said that the guy clearly said, "You owe money to my father." How can you live away? Mipnei Shemeshav Avedu said, "You know what's awesome? That first part of the Mishnah talking about bodily. The kid says maybe he still owe my father money. So because the kid did not come with a proper claim, therefore." He's a Meishav Aved. I agree. Over here, the kid is saying, you owe my father money. And that's why Rabbi Yaakov says, you're not a Meishav Aved at all. And Moed makes a tiny swear. Shmuel says another answer. You know what it means over here? The second part of the Mishnah, you swear the cotton. You thought it means the cotton comes with the claim of a shvu and I'm paying it back. No, the other way around. I'm going to the cotton. His father owes me $100 and I have a star, I produce a star, and I want to get paid. And that's what the Mishnah is saying. You cannot make a cotton pay you unless you swear that even though I have a star, your father still owes me the money. And same thing with Hegdish. The cotton, we're talking about getting paid from the assets of the cotton. And the Hegdish means Lepora, Menichse had to get paid from the Hegdish. The cotton, that's what you come to tell you that you can collect from a cotton, and then the only way you can collect is with a shvua. We already learned it elsewhere. What do you need to repeat it again for? It says, it says later on that if you want to collect from the assets of Yisayim, you have to swear. What do I need this Mishnah and the next Mishnah for? Come teach you like a Kshisha, old one. The Tondabai Kshisha, Yisayim, Amru Gedalim. When we say Yisayim, we don't necessarily mean minors. It could be an adult, but they're a Yasim. They don't really know the father's issues, affairs. The Ezar Lemektanim, you have to say minors, Bain Lishua, side the din that if you want to collect money from them, you have to swear the father still owes him money. And Bain is a Buddhist. Normally, remember the three levels of fields. Normally, by Bain, we learned that a Balchayv collects from a Baini. Balchayv, the Zikin is from Idias. A Balchayv Baini and a Ksubah is a Burias. By Yisayim, you only take from their worst assets. And that's by Ktanim. And the Hegdish, let me ask you a question. You're saying Hegdish. If you want Hegdish to pay you money, Lipara Menichse Hegdish, you want to get from the assets of Hegdish as well, you have to swear. So we learn them from the Chasim Mishabadim. If you go to the Kucha to collect, you need to swear to the buyers that they slow the money. And why you have to do that? Because we're worried about Kinunya. We're worried that the borrower who sold the field really wants it back. But how can he get it back? So he makes a deal with the lender. Let's say I'll say that I still owe you the money. You'll collect the field back, and then between two of us, we'll divide the field. We're making a deal behind the back. That's why if you want to collect from the kuchas, you need to swear that the loan is still outstanding. So So someone asks a question. Mali mishabadim lehedit. Mali mishabadim legoy. What's the chilik? Collecting for hedit. Why would you have to? Why would you need a shvur? What's the chilik? You're telling me you need a shvur behegdish. Every person you want to collect the lekuch, you have to make a shvur. So what we need? I would have thought hedit. Who the other might know hedit? People will make tricks on the hedit. But hegdish on hegdish, they know much. You can cheat hegdish. Who'll do that? So why make a shvur commercial? Well, nevertheless, people are cheaters. When you're talking about Rabbunan said a person is dying, he's made all of his nechasim consecrated. And then he says $100 out of that whole lot. I owe that private person. Never, he's believed. The is taking away from hegdish. Chazaka ain't adam oisik kanun al hegdish. We have a rule that people don't cheat hegdish. So no, which one is it? How many much of a big difference? When do we say a person sins? We have a rule. Ein adam chayte v'loy loy. You won't sin if you have no benefit from it. And over here, hani milish chibana. They don't know chayte v'loy loy. He's dying. What does he benefit by giving the money to somebody else? So therefore, he must be saying the truth. People, when it comes to money, who knows what we're going to do? Mishnah. The following, make a shvur on avodim v'shtaris. It comes to slaves, shtaris, contracts, karka, v'hegdish. Ain't but just let me careful. You don't pay on these things we had before. The cloud, prat the cloud. We'll see them more again. You don't pay the knas. On karka and avodim v'shtaris, you don't pay knas. And hegdish you don't pay any knas. You don't pay 4 or 5 times with a cow or a sheep. Shem mechinam ain't a nishba. The shem mechinam for those things you don't have to swear. And we actually had a machlek before. If you stole karka, whether you have to even pay back the keren, or just say here's your karka, it's flooded. Too bad, it's yours. We had a machlek at the time. And all of these things, when it comes to karka, you don't pay. Rab Shimon says, kotchim, when it comes to kotchim, it depends. If you're responsible for it, it's called davar hagoyrim lemamen, then it's boinlem. You have to swear, because like it's yours. Davar hagoyrim lemamen, kimamen ami. But if you're not chay b'achrai, you don't have to swear. Rab Meir says, yesh dvorim shehenke karka, The things that are like property, but they're not really halachically not like property. The Chacham don't agree with them. They say no, it is property, and therefore it has all the din of property. For example, case said Gefanim to Unas Masad. Look, I gave you 10 ungalod, 10 vineyards full of grapes. But it's only 5. That's a classic case of made mixes. But they were growing. Is a may says Mechayishur. We don't treat it as karka. We'll see the Gemara tomorrow why. We don't treat it like karka, so you chayiv it made mixes. If it's attached to the ground in the same state as a karka, you don't swear because you don't swear in karka. You don't swear unless it has a measure, a weight, or a minion, a number. By meidah b'mixes, there has to be. I say you owe me 100, and he said I owe you 50. Clear number. Kate said, what do you mean? Bayis mole masaitlach. I gave you a house full of whatever the item was. Or kis mole masaitlach. I gave you a wallet full of money, but I didn't tell you how much it was in the wallet. I just said full. And Baloim ain't dead. What are you talking about? Whatever you left is still there. Take it. I never counted. No one is potter. Because since you didn't say a precise number or a precise weight or something precise, then what you call full, I call something else. It's all relative.
For $1 coins, I give it to you.
No, I'm giving back to you. No, I'm saying I didn't touch it. Here. Yeah. Exactly. What? This guy says it's still the beam. The house is full. Now I have a pointer on the wall, and the even know it was only up to the window height. Oh, now we're talking measures. Then that's the case of mixes. The quick Sasunik capable to know how do you know that we learned our cold var pesha, which we learn how to do every sin. Cloud. I'll show you how Sam was a prat. Right, then I call of it every lost object. We have a rule. What do we know about the prat? My prat put it over metal with mum, and it has to be something portable and its intrinsic value. Of course, metal good mum. The other exception is kakoy is property. She ain't metaltlin. It's not metaltlin. You have to vote. He's like a simple karka. You have to start with metal. Ain't go from mum. Hegdish, how do I hegdish your potter? They a hook sieve. It says his friend. It says in the person.